This is the second in my series of how to play bridge. I've gotten a lot of great responses on the part 1 for how to play bridge for beginners, so I'm doing the next lessons, and I said I would only do this if you were interested. Thanks to you, here it is, and I'm going to keep going again as long as there's interest in this. This one is about evaluating your hand so that you can start to understand making bids. I don't want to repeat myself too much because I feel like I did a good job explaining in the previous video. So if you have any questions or you haven't seen that other video, I highly recommend you go and see it. I'll put the link in the description. Sometimes you want to bid and you want to play with a trump suit, and sometimes you want to play with a non-trump. And the truth is, when you look at your hand, you got to know, like, what do I have? Turns out there is an easy way to evaluate your hand, and that's what we're going to get into today. Because actually, weirdly, it's all based on a point system, which we're going to learn in this video. So what makes a good balanced hand? Well, a good balanced hand actually is a hand that has an equal number of each of the 4 suits. And if you do some of the math here and you think about it, well, there's, 4 people playing, there's 52 cards, there's 13 of a suit around. If you had a balanced hand would be 3 cards of 3 of the 4 suits and a 4th card of 1 of the 4 suits. That would be a balanced hand. Fortunately or unfortunately, that is not how it always goes when your cards are dealt. So when you look at something, you've got to know, is my hand balanced or is my hand not balanced? Because if your hand is balanced, you want to start moving more towards, say, a non-trump or traditional type of bridge game where you're just playing tricks with no trump card. However, if your hand is not balanced, then you want to think about, do I want to play with a trump card? And if so, what suit? And that gets into the whole bidding and communication thing. So let's just say, what is a balanced hand? What would be a great no trump hand? Look at it like this. You can't have any voids, meaning if you look at your hand and you don't have all 4 suits, it's not a balanced hand. If you look at your hand and you've only got 1 of a suit, it's not a balanced hand. And if you have only one situation where you have 2 and everything else is balanced, like you have 3, 3, 3, then you're starting to get more into a good balance that's acceptable. But that's not all of what makes a balanced hand, because what also makes a balanced hand is what they call the high honors cards. To know which is in your hand, you have to do a point system. So take a look at this. An ace, you give it 4 points. A king, you give it 3 points. A queen, you give it 2 points. And a jack, you give 1 point. When your hand is dealt, what you want to do is you want to add up your high honors cards, that's the jack, queen, king, ace, and that point system, and ask yourself, how many points do I have in my hand? And the only reason we have this point system is because it's a good way to determine your strength of your hand. So let's face it, if there's 4 aces, 4 kings, 4 queens, and 4 jacks in a deck, you do the math, that's 40 points. A deck of cards has 40 points. You're playing with 4 people, divided by 4, the average is 10. So you should have, when you add up your hands, you should have 10 points. If you have less than 10 points, you have a very weak hand. If you have 10 points, you got an average hand. But if you start to get up to, say, 13 if you really get up to 14 points or more, you have an above average hand, and that's important. And we're going to get into this a little bit more in a second. So let's take a look at some examples here. Take a look at this first one, number 1. Let's say you were dealt this. First, let's go up and add how many points is in that hand. Well, you've got an ace here, a king here, a queen, and a jack. That's 10 points. This is what I would say is an average hand. If I look down here, I see there's only 2 spades, a 10 and a 2, and there's only 2 clubs, a 5 and a 3, and then there are 6 diamonds. So this is an average hand, but it's not a balanced hand. And it's important to go through a few more of these examples. So let me keep going. Let's look at this next one here. You've got a couple of aces, you've got a king, a queen, you got a jack. Can you do the math and tell me how many points that is? Well, it's 14. You have 4 for each ace. You got 3 for the king, 2 for the queen, 1 for the jack. So 14 is an above average hand, and that's really a good hand. Is it a balanced hand? Well, not really, because even though you have this ace of clubs, you've only got 1. So I would say it's a good hand, not a totally balanced hand. It's a playable hand, but it probably wouldn't be a hand that you would play no trump in. Looking at the number of diamonds, you might want to consider that. And that does remind me of something that I want to get into do, which is, in addition to looking at a balanced hand, I'm going to talk about how many cards of a certain suit you have, because though I'm only talking about points right now in terms of ace, king, queen, and jack, my mother has a side system where she also looks at a run of cards and evaluates extra points in that. Let's look at this third example here, which is a great hand. You've got 4 aces, you've got 4 kings, you've got a couple of queens, you've got a jack. Anyone know how many points that is? If you said 33, give yourself diploma in math because you're correct. This is an amazing hand. But remember, there's only 40 points total. And the fact that you've got 33 points, this is an once in a blue moon, unheard ofly good hand. Is it balanced? Like I said, as long as you have no voids, no singletons, and no more than one double, and we have one double, this is a excellent balanced hand. This would be a no trump slam dunk hand where you would probably, you'd probably win 12, 13, you could win the whole damn thing with this. So let's look at the fourth one here. How many points do you have? Well, it's kind of easy to add up because there's only one queen and one jack, and that would mean you only have 3 points. You have no hearts at all, and this is not only a weak hand, this is also an unbalanced hand. So let me actually then say, how do you know when you should take a bid? If you don't have at least 12 points, do not bid. You pass. So in the examples I gave you, if you were the first one, you would pass because 10 points is average. It's just not enough to aggressively come in and make a bid. If you were that number 4, you really can only pass. But if you had the second one and you had that third one, not only should you make a bid, you must make a bid because you have to let your partner know, hey, I've got points here right out of the gate. So let's go ahead and take a look at the hand here. I see we have 3 spades. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 hearts, 3 clubs, and 3 diamonds. Is it a balanced hand? Yeah, it's a perfectly balanced hand. Now let's take a look at the point system. 1 ace, 1 king, which is 7, 2 queens, which is another 4 points, 11, 2 jacks, 2 points, 13. You would want to open with a bid. Now, you wouldn't want to open with an aggressive bid here, but I think you certainly could open with a 1-something bid. And if we want to look at what suit you want to go with, well, this is where I want to go back to what I said before. Some people like to look at the high cards and assume, well, then just go with the high cards. But in fact, you kind of want to go a little bit with the strength of the length of the cards. So here you've got the ace, which is great, but you really can't go anywhere with it after the ace because your other cards are going to be sort of weak. And you could go here with a jack and a 10, but which is only really 1 honors card, but you really can't back that up either. Now here you actually have 2 decent honors cards, but you can't really go much beyond that. And then here you've got 2 decent honors cards, but you have 4. So my guess would be to communicate to your partner that you would say you'd have 1 heart. Even by saying 1 heart, you're essentially communicating to your partner that you have a minimum of 12 points, maybe 12 to 14 points. If you had that hand before that had 33 points, you wouldn't start with 1. You would have maybe started with 2 or even 3, no trump. So you're communicating, holy crap, have I got a lot of high honors across the board. All part of the understanding of the bidding, which again is a very complex thing. So let's go ahead and hit the 1 heart. So West then goes ahead and passes based on that, but my partner across from me in the north bumps it up to 2 hearts, meaning he too has enough points that he could play if we had hearts. The East passes, so it tells me that they probably don't really have a lot of great stuff. It's our turn to rebid, and the truth is, if the West and East have already passed, they're probably going to keep passing, and we could probably I could pass and we could stick with the 2 hearts and just go for that, because it seems there's no point in me saying I think we can go more. And the fact that I really don't have a heart that's a king or a heart that it's a ace, it's probably the most I could do. So I would pass, and that would be the end, and we would and my partner and I would be starting a 2-heart contract. I'll pass, and here you go. But I'm not going to play this now. Let's go ahead and try it again. So here's another one, and here you go, now North actually started the bidding, but let's just back up for a second. First of all, North is my partner, and North passed. So that already tells you something. But let's look what we have here. We've got 4 spades, including 2 honor cards, 1 heart, 4 clubs, including 2 honor cards, and then 4 diamonds. Is the hand balanced? No, it is not, because we only have 1 heart, which is the 7. Do we have a lot of points? Well, we have 1 for that jack and 4 for that ace, so that's 5, plus another 5 here. We have 10. We have an average. My partner would not bid. This is why I said before, if you have, say, 14 points or more, you must bid. I know my partner doesn't even have 14 points. It's not like I can come back and say, well, I've got the 15 points. I don't. So I've only got 10, which is the average, and it's not even a balanced hand. So most likely, we're not going to want to be winning the contract. We want to be putting ourselves in a defending the contract type of situation. So ideally, I would go ahead and I would pass. However, I'll tell you this, being that the East here has just done only 1 club, which is the very beginning, it may be worth me communicating back that if we had to pick a suit to my partner, I could go with the spade. I could go 1 spade and see what happens. So let's just do that. And again, this is strictly for fun. Well, immediately, as you can see, the West then finally communicates and comes back with 2 of clubs, meaning they have a ton of clubs. My partner passes again, basically saying, I'm going to be no help whatsoever, which is fine because we certainly can't win a contract with 3 of anything. I'm about to hit pass. Most likely, that's going to be the end of it, and we're going to be defending. And there you go. And now it is going to be 2 no trump. We're defending. Now, one more thing, since we're here, it's not written out, but you see the X and the double X here. It's actually what they call a double and a redouble. And basically, if somebody makes a bid that's so high that the other team doesn't even was like, that's ridiculous, you'll never do it, they can actually double, which means that they're essentially saying, you're not going to win, and if I'm correct, I'm going to get double the points for it. So we're not going to get into that, but there is this thing called double and redouble. So let's take a look at this final example here. I've got 1 spade, I've got 2 hearts, I've got 4 clubs, and I've got 6 diamonds. Unbalanced hand, but 6 diamonds is good. Let's talk about how many points do I have. I've got 13 points. So I would certainly say that if you have less than 12 points, you never, ever, ever want to make a bid. 14 points is usually where I feel comfortable. We have 13, but we have also 6 cards. I would think that since I have an opening bid, I need to communicate to my partner, I've got just enough, but it would have to be diamonds. Well, West passes, my partner passes, meaning he really can't help me much, which is unfortunate. Now East comes and says, I've got 1 spade. Since my partner could not do anything like go to 2 diamonds or come back and go to anything, most likely we're going to have to defend again, and I'm going to have to pass. You can see now that X it's lit up, meaning I could double, meaning I don't think that's the case, so I'll pass. Most likely, now that we're in a passing situation, it looks like it's a bit of a free-for-all. My other opponents are coming up to 1 no trump, 2 spades. They clearly have strong hands, and I'm not even able to compete. And I can see I've only got 1 spade. And they're both and he's bidding spades. He must have maybe 6 spades in there. And West is saying 1 no trump, meaning he probably has good cards. It's probably spread out amongst the suit. It's probably a balanced hands with good cards. It's another pass for me, and I'm going to tell you, it'll probably be a pass for everybody. And so 2 wins, and now we would be defending that. And that's the end of this lesson here. Now I'm trying to give you as much value as I can in the game of bridge. And if you really want to kick it up and go to the next notch, in the comments and in the description is a link where you can learn more about how you can play one-on-one with me and deep dive into a full how to play bridge course made by me. And it will make you a confident bridge player, good enough to play online and at bridge clubs and at bridge tournaments. I'm going to keep making videos, and I encourage you to subscribe, and I hope you do. And I'm trying to give you as much value as I can in the game of bridge.